Tonight, man, we are going to be going over such a cool story. This is the Green Dragon cult, their connections with the Nazis and their connections with Rasputin. This is going to be so much fun, man. I had never heard of this before until you explained this to me, Austin. I'm so excited to get into it, bro. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. It's good to see you guys. We hope you guys had a good Mother's Day last weekend. We decided to take the weekend off and spend time with the family, but we're so glad to be back here tonight. And this is a very, very interesting subject. The Green Dragon Society. It's a secret society out of Japan, and we're going to be doing a deep dive on it. And it seems to be one of the societies that has been, kind of branches east and west mysticism together. This dives into all kinds of stuff, guys. Earth, Agartha, different religions, astral projection. I mean, just all kinds of stuff goes into this. The world wars, it's crazy. So we're going to get into it a little bit, and we're going to freestyle some of this. We're going to look up some stuff. Make sure you put stuff in the comments if you want us to pull stuff up or you want to tell us any kind of facts you know. But let's get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Perfect, man. All right, so as always, guys, whenever we do any of these videos, we like to have an icebreaker first. Just something to, let the time pass, have a little bit of laughs, have a little bit of fun. We always like to rejoice in the Lord, of course. And what that means is we're going to do just a little bit of a funny video real quick, and then we'll get right into this.
Hey, Bronson, let's talk about this before we do it. This is kind of a teaser. We have an interview that's going to come out that has some crazy stuff in it about astral projection and sleep paralysis. So this is kind of like a funny spin on sleep paralysis and stuff, but it's a real serious interview we have coming out. But we thought we kind of do this to be a icebreaker for anybody that isn't familiar with sleep paralysis.
For sure. All right, let's watch it real quick.
There's no sound, brother.
Don't mind me. We're not supposed to touch you.
You can't hear it at all?
Some of us do.
No, it's good now.
Oh, I was gonna say, I can hear it.
Why would they sell?
There you go.
Don't mind me. We're not supposed to touch you, but some of us do. I don't. Because I'm not, I'm not like that, but the guys that sit on your chest, technically, are not supposed to do that. Oh.
He just jumps off his bed like he lives here.
Yeah, we're talking about sitting on your chest and stuff.
Whoa. What's with the,
Whoa.
A smoking gun poster there? A Step Brothers or Talladega Nights one there. Ooh, who's this? Your girlfriend? Perhaps I shall visit her next. No, I'm just kidding. Good for you.
Is there a
He said good for you.
ashwagandha gummies you can take before something bad happens? Because I had a couple of the ones you keep in your medicine cabinet. And I'm not freaking out, but I could. You should open up a window in here. It's kind of musty.
That's so funny, bro. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever experienced sleep paralysis before, man, it's really like that. You know what I'm saying? They're wandering around the room, sitting on people's chests, causing problems. It's a real issue, man. It's insane. So that's actually a good little video, man. It's funny how that works. He grabs his jacket and he goes, "Oh!" It's just like, what are you doing here?
Who thought about doing that though, man? I've never seen anybody really make sketches on that. That was
yeah, me neither.
Very different, but. Like when you mentioned the guys that sit on your chest, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And so I'm glad you actually teased that because we've got this video coming out real soon where we actually spend some time with someone who experiences some insane type of spiritual experiences. I don't know what else to call it. Astral projection, hauntings, angelic. It's not just dark side either. It's also light side too. So it's very, very interesting. And I'm excited for that interview to come out, man. So we're working on that now.
Wild, guys. Wild, guys. You got to be looking out for that.
Yeah, it's a really, really good interview, man. I was very appreciative of that. So, but tonight, man, we're getting into this Green Dragon Order. And so this is, I'd never heard of this before, man. And my apologies to that one guy on Rumble last week, bro.
We started it up. They're like, man, we're just so busy and everybody needs us and everything else. Is like, all right, just shut it down, man.
Yeah.
Just shut it down for tonight. Let's make a post about it. But yeah, and one guy said, thanks for nothing. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
Sorry, that
We're
one
sorry,
guy
man.
on Rumble. So-
We both have wives and kids like poking their lip out and saying, come on. Look. So we gave into it, man. But we're back this week and we're going to cover it in depth for you guys.
No doubt, no doubt. So let's go ahead and get into it, bro. So this is the Wikipedia page. As you can see, there's just tons of information here for us to chew off of. This is the Green Dragon Order, and it says the Green Dragon was a mystical Tibetan or Japanese occult order first mentioned at the beginning of the 20th century. The organization was mainly popularized through the book The Morning of the Magicians. It is claimed that the order collaborated with Theosophical Society, the Thule Society, and influenced well-known secular figures in Europe as well as Tibet and Japan. So we've already got some you're talking about theosophy here, man. We all know that's, Marina Abramovich. That's, pretty dark
Blavatsky.
orders. Yeah, so, thank you. Yeah, Blavatsky, excuse me.
But I mean, modern day, I wouldn't be surprised if she was into theosophy either. It's
yeah, right.
It's all these magical systems just at their core go back to Kabbalah and glorifying man over God. So, I mean, really, you could make that connection. Yeah,
that makes sense, man. Yeah, no doubt. And then, of course, we have the Thule Society. So we can just highlight that real quick in case you guys are unfamiliar with what that term is. So when we look at the Thule Society.
Yeah, some people call it the Thule Society. It just depends on where it comes from. But in a lot of shows, if you may hear Thule, or if you're watching other from other countries that are covering it, a lot of times they call it the Thule Society.
Yeah. So this was a German occultist group founded in Munich shortly after World War I. So very interesting here. It is claimed that the Nazis discovered during the capture of Berlin in World War II were wearing Tibetan or Kalmyk garb. Rumored members of the order include Peter Badmaev and Alexandra Fedorovna. Did I say that right? Feodorovna. Georgy Rasputin and Karl Hoschfer. So we've got a couple of big names here. We've got some pretty wicked societies that you guys have probably heard of before. This seems to be a big deal.
Well, I tell you what, just in case anybody's not familiar, let's pull up the Rasputin wiki real quick.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then
here we go. So I really didn't know much about this guy before, but this is wow. What an interesting story. If you guys are familiar with the Society of Sorcery videos that we did, this guy reminds me of someone in particular. So essentially what we have here is this is a man who is a mystic and a faith healer. He was around in the 1869 to 1916, and he is best known for having manipulated the imperial family of Nicholas II. So this was the last emperor of Russia, through whom he gained considerable influence in the final years of the Russian Empire. So there are stories about this guy healing people from real sicknesses. You know what I'm saying?
The Tsar's son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Tsar's wife, and so hemophilia was what he is accredited for healing Alexandra's only son, Alexei Nikolaev. Guys, I'm an English person, man. I don't know half these words, so I'm sure I'm butchering them. But he was a divisive figure at court, seen by some Russians as a mystic, a visionary, and a prophet, and by others as a religious charlatan. But here's the thing, man. If you are some type of healer, if you are doing all these interesting little things where you are getting involved with high figures like emperors and whatnot, I have a hard time thinking that you're using trickery or scams here. It very well could be, but it seems to me like as if perhaps this guy really was on this, man. Like he really was doing what they claimed that he was doing. And so him being a member of this Green Dragon Society is quite interesting, to say the least. Is there anything else you want to talk about with him real quick before we move on, Austin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let it rip.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, I'll pull up. I did not send this video. I'll have to find it and send it to you while we're doing this. But go down to the reports around his death. Let's do that.
Sure.
He also believed in that Frankist Sabbatai Zebi philosophy of redemption through sin. Very, very sick stuff. God never bathes. But yeah, let's the failed assassination attempt. Let's hear about this.
Sure. So down here where it says failed assassination attempt, in July 12th, 1914, a 33-year-old peasant woman attempted to assassinate Rasputin by stabbing him in the stomach outside of his home. Rasputin was seriously wounded, and for a time it was not clear if he would make it, but after surgery and some time in the hospital, he recovered. This man, Guseva, was a former priest who had supported Rasputin before denouncing his sexual escapades and self-aggrandizement in December 1911. A radical conservative and anti-Semite, Iliador had been a part of a group of establishment figures who attempted to drive a wedge between Rasputin and the imperial family in 1911. When he failed, he was banished from St. Petersburg and ultimately defrocked. What's that word mean? I'm not familiar with that word. We're going to pull that up. Just going to hover it over real quick. Defrocked. Unfrocking degradation of clergy is the removal of their rights to exercise the functions of the ordained ministry. Okay, got you. Very good. I wasn't aware of that term. Never heard that before. Guseva claimed to have acted alone, having read about Rasputin in the newspapers and believing him to be a false prophet and even an antichrist. Both the police and Rasputin, however, believed that Iliador had instigated the assassination attempt. He fled the country before he could be questioned, and Guseva was found to be not responsible for her actions by reason of insanity. Very, very interesting. Wow, so people were actually after this guy. When it comes to his death, Rasputin was murdered during the early morning on December 30th at the home of Prince Yusupov. He died of 3 gunshot wounds, one of which was a close-range shot to his forehead. Little is certain about his death beyond this, and the circumstances of his death have been subject of considerable speculation. According to Smith, what really happened at Yusupov home on December 17th will never be known. That story, recounted in his memoirs, however, has become the most frequently told version of events. Rasputin was invited to his palace shortly after midnight and ushered into the basement. Yusupov offered tea and cakes, which had been laced with cyanide. Golly, so they were doing everything they could to get rid of this guy, man. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. He refused the cakes at first, and he appeared unaffected by the poison. He then asked for some of the wine, which had also been poisoned, and drank 3 glasses, but still showed no sign of distress. At 2:30, they were like, dude, just shoot the guy. You know what I mean? Just shoot the guy, bro. That is so funny. He had better look at the crucifix and say a prayer. Referring to a crucifix in the room, he then shot him once in the chest, and the conspirators then drove to Rasputin's apartment, wearing Rasputin's coat and hat in an attempt to make it look as though he had returned home that night. Upon returning to his place, Yusupov went back to the basement to ensure that Rasputin was dead. Suddenly, he leapt up and attacked him, who freed himself with some effort and fled upstairs. Rasputin followed Yusupov into the palace's courtyard, where he was shot by someone else, and he collapsed into a snowbank. The conspirators then wrapped his body in cloth, drove it to the Petrovsky Bridge, and dropped it into the Little Nevka River. What the heck, man? Unbelievable.
Right.
Wow.
He was unaffected by the poison in the first gunshot, and that was a lot of poison. So I wanted to just show some of the weird supernatural stuff around Rasputin and his connection to this Green Dragon Society and what they're about. So I tell you what, Bronson, let's go ahead and get into that Robert Seffer clip. And guys,
Sure.
this comes from Robert Seffer. He's done all kinds of work around this Green Dragon Society and Vril and the Thule Society and all that stuff. So if you want to learn his perspective on that, please go check out Seffer on YouTube or X.
No
Very
doubt.
interesting stuff.
No doubt. All right, we're going to stop right here at 3:40. I'm not skipping anything in particular, guys. It's just where the video actually starts. So,
And guys, this is going to have some stuff in it that is not something that we buy into, like a little bit of like chakras and stuff like that. What the Green Dragon believes in, the same belief system. So just so you understand, we're just doing this as a documentary about what's going on.
For sure.
All
right, here we go.
Let's get started. There are numerous ancient orders and mystery schools since antiquity that have dealt in matters pertaining to the soul. Unlike the modern medical field,
no way.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's insane. We'll just let those ads go out. Within 4 days, you too can be rewired with Joe Dispenza. All right, here we go. Turn that volume back up.
Unlike the modern medical field that addresses the body as a physical, biological organism, these occult organizations train the initiate or adept to transcend the limitations perceived by Western medicine.
It looks like pieces of paper. I wasn't sure if it was M&Ms or Tic Tacs or something, but they look like little pieces of paper that are just causing to fly around there with his hand.
Yeah.
And to act upon his or her surroundings in a more direct way. The Order of the Green Dragon, or the Green Dragon Society, were a Japanese secret society dedicated to the mystery of the human body and of the etheric body. Mastery allowed access to greater power, apparently.
Yeah, for sure.
So they were trying to strengthen the etheric body. Okay? So keep that in mind. This whole episode is going to lead into that interview beautifully, man. This is what we're against right here, is people that fight in both the spiritual realm and the physical realm, and they can enter both. So, I mean, Christians really got to wake up, man, and realize that there's a spiritual war going on. And the other side is way ahead of us right now.
Yeah, no, it's true. And what's so sad about that, what makes that so true, is the fact that they never stop. That's the thing, is that, you know, unfortunately, Christians are Christians on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But the occultists are Satanists every day. You know what I mean? And I mean that with, I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but they never stop working. It's just they're always at their craft. It's much easier to sin constantly than it is to be righteous constantly.
As they allegedly also had powers of prophecy and were said to be able to control the elements within their bodies. In other words, they were able to generate, harness, and transmute chi, ki, or the life force energy known in India as prana, and in some of my own books as vril. Higher level initiates had to prove themselves by forcing a seed to germinate by their willpower. General and Professor Karl Haushofer was one of only 3 Westerners ever.
Forcing a seed to germinate by your own willpower is a crazy thing to say. I'm not sure if that includes soil or dirt or what, but that's insane.
To have become members of the Green Dragon Society, as well as a member of the Vril Society. It's said that Rasputin was a member of the order and that it collaborated with the Theosophical Society and Thule Society. Haushofer was a military attaché in Tokyo when he joined before World War I, and later joined the National Socialists in Germany.
The aforementioned Karl Haushofer was a master of Eastern mystical traditions who'd familiarized himself with the Zen teachings of the Japanese Society of the Green Dragon. Haushofer gained extraordinary gifts through membership of the Green Dragon Society of Japan, in which the mastery of the time organism and the control of the life forces in the human body is the central aim of ascending degrees of initiation.
The Vril Society, and later the National Socialist Party, organized expeditions to Tibet starting in 1926, ending in 1942, trying to contact the cave oracles of Tibet, or the Adepts of Agartha. In 1929, some of the adepts allegedly returned to Germany with the Germans and formed lodges in Berlin. The Tibetan monks and adepts of Agartha in Germany were known as the Society of Green Men.
Okay, so in other words, this is now something that's no longer just isolated into one section of the earth. This is now spanning across
No.
continents.
No, in Nazi Germany, they're opening up lodges for this.
Yeah.
Now, he talked about 3 groups he was in contact with, 2 of which was the Theosophical Society, and the other one was the Thule Society. Now, if you go back to our Society of Sorcerer videos, the first one, the Founders of Modern Witchcraft, okay?
Right.
We covered Helena Blavatsky in depth in there, okay? And in her writing, she talks about the Tibetan Buddhism as being the closest thing to the ancient Aryan religion.
I remember that.
Okay, so I believe that these societies all in together are influencing the Nazi SS and the Thule Society, and all Blavatsky was brand. So Hitler took a lot of the theosophy from Helena Blavatsky and changed some of it to reflect more of an Aryan philosophy, and they called it Aryanosophy.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. So you have all the same symbolism, like the swastika, the black sun, all that type of stuff that ties into the Eastern mysticism. And what they're doing is they're looking for the ancient Aryan race that they believe has gone underground into Agartha or Shambhala, right? The priest of Agartha, right? The what do they call him exactly? Was the priest or the oracles of the cave?
Okay.
So the adepts of Agartha. So
yeah,
it's very, very interesting. But this is where it seems to be the East and the West pagans coming together and working together in this instant. And it's tying in the polytheist systems from all over the world. This is a unifying society right here that seems to be very, very powerful.
Right. Yeah, no doubt, man. Very, very
we're going to cover the Thule Society, I think, here in just a minute. We can pull up the wiki and read a little bit about that. But honestly, what it is like they talk about in the East, the Chi. All it is Vril is just the European version of Chi. Right. And that society of Thule Society would have these long-haired women. I believe Maria Gorsuch, I believe, was the absolutely beautiful woman, but they never cut their hair. They thought they used for antennas and stuff. But we'll get into it in a minute. Let's finish this video.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. All of this stuff just ties together.
I've heard similar things said about certain Native American tribes keeping that hair long, and that they hunted better and all sorts of stuff.
It's all the same demons.
Yeah, yeah, facts, yeah.
Its foremost adept was known as the Monk of the Green Gloves, or Hands, who was renowned for his clairvoyant abilities. Hitler had audiences with him.
YouTube, bro, no way. So many ads.
Mysterious greens are then facilitating the rise of Adolf Hitler. The leader of these Tibetans was a mysterious man with the green gloves. Mr. Green Gloves is supposedly a representative of the adepts of Agartha.
Hey, Bronson?
Yeah,
Bronson?
I'm fixing it
the
right
video's
now.
not up there. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Was known as the Monk of the Green Gloves, or Hands, who was renowned for his clairvoyant abilities. Hitler had audiences with him.
The mysterious greens are then facilitating the rise of Adolf Hitler. The leader of these Tibetans was a mysterious man with the green gloves. Mr. Green Gloves is supposedly a representative of the adepts of Agartha and their king of the world.
Wow.
In the 1920s, they joined forces to guide Herr Hitler from the mythical subterranean realm of Agartha and its ruler, the king of the world.
Agartha is a legendary subterranean city that is said to reside somewhere in or below the Earth's crust. Shambhala, also known as Shangri-La, is sometimes said to be its capital city. The mythical paradise of Shambhala is known under many other different names as well. It's been called the Forbidden Land, the Land of White Waters, the Land of Living Fire, the Land of the Living Gods, and Hindus have known it as Aryavartha, which literally means the land or realm of the Aryans, or the land of the noble or worthy ones, as some interpret the term Aryan to denote nobility. Buddhist legends suggest that there's a race of supermen and superwomen who occasionally come to the surface to oversee the development of the surface-dwelling humanity. It's also believed that this subterranean world has millions of inhabitants, many cities, and is ruled over by a king that is believed to have given orders directly to the Dalai Lama of Tibet, who is allegedly his terrestrial representative. His messages are said to be transmitted through certain secret tunnel systems, which are understood to connect the inner world of Agartha with Tibet. In Tibet, there's a major mystical shrine called Patala, which is said by the people there to sit atop an ancient cavern and tunnel system which reaches throughout the Asian continent and possibly beyond. The entrance of this tunnel was allegedly guarded by lamas who were sworn to secrecy, but allegedly worked with the Germans as they were seen as being kin or related in some way to at least.
Do you think, Austin, if Hitler or any of his associates would have really discovered this, do you think they would have been open about this? Do you think they would have talked about this publicly, or do you think he would have kept it a secret?
I think it would have been kept a secret, most likely.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of interaction between what people may call extraterrestrials or whatever, what I call it, fallen entities.
Right.
I think there's a lot of interaction between the governments of the world and those entities today. I believe you can look at the Antarctica Treaty and see that, hey, we just fight all these wars and it's like the world is a theater, but when it really comes down to it, who's violated that treaty? You know what I mean? It's supposedly all these countries down here that have issues with each other, and Russia and U.S. and everything, but nobody ever violates that treaty. Isn't that funny?
Exactly right.
Now, let's finish this up, and I'm going to call a little bit of audible. We're going to go to Genesis, and right after the fall of man, and we're going to look into that a little bit to see who it might be underground. Like I said, it's a little bit of an audible, but we're live, man, so we're going to do that. But let's finish this video up, and then I want to go to a few Bible verses, and then we'll get into the rest of the stuff about the Green Dragon, but I think it's very interesting.
Deal. Let's do it. Hold on.
All right.
About made that same mistake twice. There we go.
At least one of the inner Earth civilizations.
Yeah.
The Society of the...
While we're at it, man, is there anybody in the chat that we...
We have Samothy, who Connor has been speaking with. Hello, Connor. And then we have someone named Mr. Cayman who came in and said hello. Caymen.
What's up, Cayman? How you doing, man?
Good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping by, my friend.
Green men were allegedly involved in astral contact with the Green Dragon Society and had been for several centuries. The Green Dragon Society sent 7 members to aid the Society of Green Men in Germany. The Green Men were there to help further the National Socialist cause and the projected mutation that would turn the Aryans into godmen.
The Green Dragon's origins stretched all the way back to Atlantis. Haushofer is said to have been initiated into one of the most important secret Buddhist societies and to have been sworn if he failed in his mission to commit suicide in accordance with the time-honored ceremonial.
The activities of the Green Men were under heavy National Socialist security. It's reported that when the Russians entered Berlin in 1945, they came across numerous bodies of Tibetans. They had all committed suicide by a knife stroke to the stomach. Some sources say the monks were in German uniform without insignia. Other sources say they were naked. Because of his failure, Haushofer killed his wife, then committed suicide himself at the end of the war, as would be expected by the Green Dragon Society.
Wow.
The last remnants of the Society of Green Men were allegedly eliminated in 1959 by the communists after the Chinese annexation of Tibet in the 50s.
The thing is, I doubt that they're alone. You know what I'm saying? There's too many societies across the world that have had some type of connection with this or have had their hands in this form of belief and research. It's hard for me to think there's not some type of gang war going on between it all.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that people that had this kind of knowledge would have just faded away out of nowhere. And I think probably just those chapters that they opened in Germany were probably shut down. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Russians and the French and the Americans take some of these guys if they could find them, if they're alive without them suicide. You know, and they would take people that could do things like this. They didn't have any kind of scruples. We know this from Operation Paperclip. So don't be surprised if this wasn't used and these people weren't brought over to help with our Project Stargate and all this other remote viewing stuff that we have going on. Don't think for a minute that they aren't utilizing all these ancient practices.
Exactly.
They believe in this stuff. And when you look through the Wikipedia WikiLeaks of not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks of like Hillary Clinton's emails, and you see they're searching for the buried bodies of the Nephilim stuff. The elites of this world know that this stuff is true, and they're looking for it, and they want to get this stuff in their hands. And anything they can use for any kind of advantage, they will. So they're out there looking for this. The Nazis are looking for it. The U.S. government's looking for all these relics and looking for all this stuff. This stuff's real.
Yeah,
this stuff's real. I know it's crazy and far out, but if all the most powerful people in the world and the most powerful governments and everybody with all power are constantly searching for these things, what does that tell you?
Exactly.
So I tell you what, man, let's go. We turn and talk about the king of the world a little bit. Let's show a verse about the Bible and who he says is the king of the world.
Let's do it. So we come over here to turn some music back on for us here. We got something to rock to.
Nice.
All right. So this comes in from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. And it says, "In whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them." So,
and if you're just listening, when it says "in whom the God of this world," that G is lowercase. It's talking about something that's not God the Father.
Exactly.
So even the Bible says that Satan is the God of this world. So you have, the king of the world, basically the God of the world, that's given directions to the Dalai Lama, is in charge of Agartha and all that type of stuff, which is wild, man.
Very interesting.
So I'll tell you what, let's go to Genesis real quick, and then we're going to get back into the Green Dragon Society. But let's talk a little bit about these subterranean peoples and who they could stem from. So let's go down to where Cain was
okay, yeah,
exiled.
Gotcha. Oops, sorry. Bring that back 1 second. Genesis chapter 4. So of course everybody knows that Cain and Abel were a thing, and they ended up having some issues. Cain ends up killing them. God says, "What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield her unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth." And Cain said,
hold on 1 second. Hold on. All right. "Behold, that has driven me out this day from the face of the earth. And from thy face I shall be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond." Where? In the earth. So all right, so he's been driven out from the face of the earth, so the surface of the earth we walk on every day, and he is a fugitive and vagabond in the earth.
Very interesting.
Okay, all right, let's keep going a little bit.
Sure. And then the man who, kills his brother, and there's only 3 people left on the earth, then says, "And it shall come to pass that everyone that finds me shall slay me. The Lord said unto him, Therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him."
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay,
Sure.
so let's just break down what they're saying here. He's gonna be a fugitive and vagabond in the earth, and anyone. So he's gonna be in the earth. So anyone shall come in contact with him shall kill him. So he's gonna be in the earth, but there's someone down there, there's people down there that would kill him if they saw him. Okay, So the Lord said to him, so that's where this mark of Cain comes from for anybody that sees him that would kill him. So this is very interesting. Now let's keep going here because we're going to see that there is a lot of people wherever he's going. So let's continue here at verse 16.
Sure. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, don't know where she came from, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And Enoch, he builded a city and named the city after his son, Enoch. So
Okay,
Cain,
so let me ask just you, Bronson, and everybody in the chat, everybody who's watching, what do cities have a lot of?
people.
People, right? So, all right. So, who are all these people that are in the land of Nod, and where does this woman come from? So, when he leaves out, he takes a wife, and they bear Enoch, who is not the seventh of Adam Enoch. There's two different Enochs, two Lamechs also, but there's two Enochs. You have Enoch's seventh from Adam, and you have Enoch, son of Cain.
Right.
And this son of Cain, he either Cain builds the city or Enoch builds the city and named it after his son. I believe it was Cain that built the city and then named it after his son.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's a possibility that he's been banished from the face of the earth and has to live subterraneously.
Right.
So, and there's people already there. So what we're looking at, they talk about these adepts of Agartha and Agartha, the king of the world, and there's cities underneath there and everything else. What we may be looking at is one of the first cities underground and the start of what may be what they call the ancient Aryan race, the descendants of Cain. Now, we've talked about the serpent seed a little bit before, and neither me or Bronson buys into the serpent seed. We don't call you guys heretics or anything like that. Our own father is the serpent seed guy. So we don't harbor any ill will. We could go to Genesis 4:1. I'll just show real quick why we aren't serpent seed guys. This is pretty obvious here. But I would like to point out that the story of Cain does not end here. You know what I mean? He goes under earth. And there's other stories about Tubal Cain and some stuff later on in extra biblical text, but Cain seems to continue his line.
Most assuredly, man. Yeah. I mean, there's too many questions there that are just so quickly and unanswered on who he gets his wife from. And, you know, I know that there's so many ideas about him having a sister or something like that, but, you know, we can get into that another day, but it's not something that I see.
I just wanted to point this out, that who could this possibly be underground that the Nazis are going to make contact with? And we do have a biblical reference for somebody being driven off the face of the earth, and he says he's going to be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
Right.
So a vagabond is basically like a carpetbagger, right? What we would call it. So to be a carpetbagger, you have to be going to where somebody is already at, right? He's a vagabond. He's a fugitive from the face of the earth. He's in the earth and down there with people that would kill him if they saw him.
Exactly.
It's when you start looking at it in that kind of light, it's crazy. And then you tie it in with this, and these people are looking for these subterranean ancient civilizations. I don't know, man. It seems to be a pretty good biblical tie right there. That's why I wanted to stop and kind of point it out. We can go ahead and let's go ahead and get back to the Green Dragon Society. I just thought that was a really cool biblical connection to make, and this is Ancient Echoes after all. Got to.
And you know, we had a video forever ago, probably a year and some change ago, that was called the Hollow Earth, and we discussed there about
a lot of the same subject matter.
Yeah, you know, Korah. The earth swallows them up.
That was excellent too.
Yep. It's insane, man. So which direction you want to go now, my friend? We've got the Study Buddhism that talks about the Tibetan government was exploring the possibility of also gaining protection.
Okay, let's go ahead and go through this one.
Sure. So this is introduction, and it says many high-ranking members of the Nazi regime, including Hitler, but especially Himmler and Hess, held convoluted occult beliefs. I know a lot of people are familiar with that. Prompted by those beliefs, the Germans sent an official expedition to Tibet between 1938 and 1939 at the invitation of the Tibetan government to attend the New Year celebration. So the Tibetan government actually sends an invite to Hitler and his boys Himmler and Hess, which is interesting. Tibet suffered a long history of Chinese attempts to annex it and British failure to prevent the aggression or to protect Tibet. Under Stalin, the Soviet Union was severely persecuting Buddhism, specifically the Tibetan form as practiced among the Mongols within its borders and in its satellite. The People's Republic of Mongolia, in contrast, Japan was upholding Tibetan Buddhism in Inner Mongolia, which it had annexed as part of Manchukuo, its puppet state in Manchuria. Very, very interesting. So what we see here is this so cool. This is kind of like, wow, it gives me a different idea on what World War II is about. This is more than just land and people and economy. It's a battle of beliefs and spiritism. You know what I mean? Isn't it interesting that Japan is upholding Tibetan Buddhism? Well, we all know, of course, we're Americans. We all know that Japan and Nazi Germany were in cahoots at the time. And isn't that interesting that, you know...
We're starting to uncover some things here, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at a battle between supernatural forces also.
Yes.
So you're seeing that you have this Green Dragon Society and these adepts of Agartha and Nazi Germany and all these different spiritual beliefs combining. You know what I mean? Tibetan Buddhism being upheld, and you have the Bolsheviks and the West and everything else, the far West, America and Britain and everything else that is coming against that.
Yes. Yeah. And what's really, really interesting here, and this is actually crazy, that it says that they were claiming that Japan was Shambhala. The imperial government was trying to win the support of the Mongols under its rule, check this out, for an invasion of Outer Mongolia and Siberia to create a pan-Mongol confederation under the Japanese protection. So this was in all senses and terms some alliance to gain land with spiritual conquest and allegiance with Nazi Germany. I mean, it's right here, you know, it's just doesn't really say it like that, but it says that. It's very, very interesting.
Well, to their esoteric levels, what they were doing, it appears to me, is they were trying to have a subterranean and a let's call it Middle Earth kingdom, based upon a alliance between Shambhala and Agartha underground, and an alliance between Japan and Germany above ground.
Yeah,
combining all these ancient belief systems and forces and all this type of stuff, which is the same spiritual force, it seems like. Now, as we go and read more, we will see that there is a society of green men and the Green Dragon Society. So you have green men in Germany and in Europe and Austria, and you have the Green Dragon Society in Japan and Tibet. And before they ever met in person, they said that they were communicating astrally for years before they actually even met in person.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that a little bit. Let's go ahead and go to the next article.
Sure. So our next one from here says, this is Hitler and the Green Dragon. So this is very, very interesting. That this comes from a movie up here, this little clip of a man saying, "Beware the Green Dragon." This is about the Japanese secret society at the time. Where Bela Lugosi starred a 1942 movie about a Japanese secret society, which plotted to replace America's leader with look-alike doubles, according to Professor Richard B. Spence in his Great Courses series on lectures, The Real History of Secret Societies. A look-alike double is theorized to be a novelist, okay, to facilitate it. Interesting. Okay, so when we come down here and we look at where we're going to find Hitler in this, is that Professor Spence sees a possible connection between Rasputin and the rumored Japanese Green Dragon Society, also believed to have been under control of Green Dragon was Adolf Hitler. The Green Dragons, like the Black, operated globally. Their reach supposedly extended to Tsarist Russia and Nazi Germany. Emperor Hirohito, Adolf Hitler, and Rasputin have been tied to them, fairly or not. Very interesting. In one of his lectures, Spence points out that the unknown Hitler in his private life and fortune, as mentioning Hitler Green Dragon connection. That book is on order. Wow, very interesting. Wow. So this is something that they all seem to have known, that there was at least a connection there. Now, what I think is interesting is that he says believed to have been under control was Adolf Hitler. I'm not too sure if that would be the case or not, but interesting nonetheless. So this comes in. Let me actually go over to this one. This is going to show up better on the screen. So this is a book called Behold the Green Dragon, The Myth and Reality of an Asian Secret Society. And so we come down here. This is says history certainly has no shortage of enigmatic or controversial brotherhoods, orders, lodges, and societies. The Knights Templar, for instance, are a perennial object of fascination and speculation. Whether the Templars were inspiration with the no less controversial Freemasons, a band of depraved heretics, or the innocent victims of a conspiracy born of greed and envy, remains the topic of a lively debate. It sure does too. What no one can contest, however, is that the Knights existed. Yes, exactly. But the existence is kind of what's up for debate here when it says one such entity is the quasi-mythical Green Dragon Society, also known as the Order of the Green Dragon. It is most often mentioned as a Japanese secret society, but is not necessarily the whole story. Other evidence, or at least allegation, argues that its true origins lay in China or Tibet. Hey Cleopatra, how are you today? So happy to see you. And that its influence extended to the power centers of the Tsarist Russia and Nazi Germany. Historical figures from the Emperor Hirohito to Adolf Hitler to Rasputin have been tied to the Green Dragon. Legitimately or not, the waters have been further muddied by role-playing games which have combined the society with H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos and other fictional elements. Determining what is real and what is the playful figment of someone's imagination can be tricky. And yeah, and see, here's the thing, is that I don't think that's by accident. I think that's by design. It's supposed to be tricky. It's not for you and I to understand. You know, it's for the adepts, it's for the elites, it's for those who have been trained to understand these things.
Well, just think about this. A lot of times when you see films or documentaries, it's just propaganda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how many, as Christians, how many times have we seen Hollywood put out a biblical-based movie, and it does nothing but muddy the waters about what the scriptures actually say? I mean, how awful was Noah?
Yeah.
I mean, just complete garbage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the Watchers are there, and they're rock people, and they helped Russell Crowe, who's Noah, build the ark. It's like, okay, wow, that's, where did you get that from? Oh, okay, that's just what you want people to believe. So when they hear Watchers, they think about, oh, helpers of Noah.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Precisely. Yeah, and it's all there just to confuse, and muddy the waters is a great way to say it, and they do it with so many of their stories. There was a movie, I believe they called it Exodus or Moses, I can't quite remember, but there's just so many strange, unnecessary additions that are added to the story, and they do this with their own people as well. They want us to be confused about our own truth and want us to be the best they can unaware of their own. And any knowledge that we do have, they do their very best to distort it and make it twisted and hard to understand. And but make no mistake about it, it's all purposeful.
I know this is a little off topic, but guys, the movie with Colin Farrell, Alexander, about Alexander the Great. Oh my goodness, guys. Talk about ruining a movie. I wanted to see about the conquest and what they could find out about Alexander, and it basically was like a Diddy party in the bar.
Oh no, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
They have to ruin everything, man. That's just the way they
Oh
do
man,
it.
it was tough. I've tried to watch it like 3 times. I can't make it through, man. I get nauseous watching guy on guy type stuff. Ugh.
Yeah, that's the way they do it, man. You know. And what's so sad about it is that let's just say it's some youngin who's just interested in the story, whether this be the story of Noah, Moses, or whatever. It's hard. That first impression is so hard to go back on. If that's your first impression of the story, whether it's Left Behind, even, you know, that was one of my first.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
Yeah, that held my mind and imagination in a crazy grip for a long time.
Yeah, well, you put those images into your self-conscious. It's hard to erase them, man. It's the same thing when we talk about the globe and all that type of stuff, man. When they put they indoctrinate you from a young child with whatever they want you to believe, and then it's like so hard to get it out of you because that's
Right.
at the core of your being, the core of your conscience.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's check out this black dragon, because there's not only a green dragon society, there's also a black dragon society.
Most certainly. All right, so just move that down there just for a second so I can see that. So the simplest explanation for the Green Dragon Society is that it is a muddled reference to the better known and definitely real Black Dragon Society. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Yeah, I am. I'm going to give it a shot. Kuriaka. I don't know. The BDS first appeared around 1901 and was an offshoot of the older Japanese secret society, the Black Ocean or Ginyosha. Like its parent, the Black Dragon was a militant, ultra-nationalist body which worked to expand Imperial Japan's influence on the Asian mainland. The BDS initially concentrated on combating Russian interest in the vast Chinese province of Manchuria. Indeed, the society took its name from the Black Dragon, or Armor River, which separated Manchuria and Siberia. I'm unfamiliar with the Armor River, okay. The Black Dragon's network of spies and saboteurs took an active part in the subsequent Russo-Japanese War in 1904-05. The Black Dragons later expanded their operations and influence throughout Asia and Europe, and even the Americas. Watch out. Wow. The nominal founder and leader of the Black Dragons was this guy named Uchida, but the true master, or the Dark Side Emperor, this is crazy lore. I swear, the Japanese,
Right.
I swear, this is insane. The sinister mentor of Toyama, also a founding member of the Ginyosho. Wow. All right, hold on. Let me just scroll this down for just a second here. What is this? This is insane. So, I don't know. Really,
Well,
to be honest,
the thing is I really wanted to do this episode because, when we dive into conspiracies and stuff, us being, Americans, we're so focused on the Western stuff. You know what I mean? We talk about the Illuminati and the Rockefellers and, the royal families of England and the Freemasons and the who's the other one? The Jesuits. You know what I'm saying? We go through all these all the time, but we don't even think about the other hemisphere.
right.
They over in East Asia, they have some serious secret societies, man. You hear about the Yakuza and stuff, but how often do they talk about the Green Dragon or the
Right.
Black Dragon and how far stretching it is? I mean, it's
Exactly.
serious stuff.
Yeah,
Real
no.
serious stuff.
Being in touch with Hitler and then of course Rasputin as well. That's insane, man. That's insane. That's like if we put it this way, that's like finding out that I don't know, let's just choose someone who's important but not in the spotlight. Pam Bondi. Let's find that Pam Bondi is a member of a Japanese secret society. You know what I'm saying? That's not too far away from like a
She's a
Rasputin.
member of some secret society. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
that's for sure. Yeah,
She's a member of the Not Arrest Pedophile Society.
facts. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
You
sad.
should just get a job in Fox News, bro. She's there all the time.
That's all. Yeah. Exactly. That's
Well,
where she'll be.
Actually, want to arrest people that hurt kids. Have that job.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Huge disappointment. Huge. disappointment.
Humongous
Anyway.
disappointment. Conversation for another day, I suppose. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Just so you know, now apparently, according to Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, Epstein definitely killed himself.
Oh, is that
So,
right? Even Cash
you
Patel
talk about-
says that.
Let's talk about some sellouts. Garbage.
Bronson has left the chat. That's garbage, man. What the heck?
Right.
With the Black and Green Dragons, if not the same, two sides of the same conspiratorial coin. For instance, just as the Black Dragon Armor River delineated the northern limit of Manchuria, further south, the much smaller Qinglong or Green Dragon River roughly followed the dividing line between Manchuria and China proper. As a Black Dragon society was primarily anti-Russian in its focus, the Green Dragon might have been anti-Chinese or anti-Western. That comes with a question mark. While the Black Dragon focused on the political side, did the Green Dragon deal with more secretive occult realm? Wow.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. That's what I believe it is. I believe that the Black Dragon deals with more like underworld type of stuff within the physical, and the Green Dragon is the spiritual occult side that holds the spiritual key secrets, and they work hand in hand. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised how many times within these criminal organizations I have never told my story here, but I have not exactly always been a good guy. You'd be surprised within these gangs and mafias how often that they have secret rituals within these societies or gangs or mafias or cabals or whatever you want to call them. Just on a low level, I would suggest looking at the interview between Tucker Carlson and Bukele out of El Salvador. He goes into depth about some of the rituals that MS-13 does, and then a lot of stuff with the Yakuza mirrors a lot of the stuff we're seeing tonight. There's always ritualistic things, whether when you're joining a gang or you're burning the picture of the saint with omerta or whatever it may be. There's always some kind of a spiritual ritual when you're coming into this, okay? So when you start hearing about these gangs and societies and all this like that, just remember that Bible verse. We don't battle against flesh and blood, powers and principalities. It's spiritual wickedness in high places.
Exactly.
So even what you're seeing in the physical with crime and murder and drugs and corruption and all that type of stuff is just mirroring what's going on in the spiritual realm. It's spiritual forces driving that type of stuff. And I know it may be hard for some people that aren't in that, but believe me, those guys in those gangs and those societies and everything else, they believe this. Yeah. They're in communication with entities, and they will tell you that. You may think they're crazy, but that's what's driving them.
Well, there's always a circle within a circle, right? It's the wheel within a wheel, the circle within a circle, the curtain behind the curtain. It just seems like this is the way that most things function anyway. You talk to, I live way out in the country anyway. You talk to any old Freemason, there's an actual Freemason lodge. You know, I could throw a football in my backyard and hit it. You talk to anybody that's a member of that lodge, they're probably, oh man, we're just a bunch of boys. We hang out, we, drink a couple beers and, we pick up litter on the side of the road on Sundays, and that just seems to be the way that most of these societies operate, is that on its front and on its face, it's just exactly what they claim to be. And then behind closed doors is when you get to see more of these things. You can see this whether it's the Diddy parties, it's the Hillary Clinton email list, it's the Green Dragon and the Black Dragon like today's episode. It could literally be anything. It's always the case.
I mean, if you want some really good examples, go to that third. Keep driving for it. I'm not trying to just plug this all the time, but really, if you want in depth, go to the third Society of Sorcery video. We cover why are all these celebrities and leaders of state around witches doing black magic? And I know Bronson mentioned Abramovich earlier, and Jill. Do you remember her name?
Oh no, but she's so gross. Yeah.
So, I mean, why are all these people around people with power and influence? Why did all throughout history, all the kings and emperors always had court mages and soothsayers and everything else around? It's all spiritual and physical. It's all there. If you're just looking at mental and physical, you're missing a third of your being. It's all there, and the most rich and powerful among us all believe this, and they're all searching for this, and they're all in league with this, one way or another. Whether you're God, you're in league with the fallen. Yeah, and it's like that. No matter where it is, power is always tied to the spiritual. Always. Yeah. I mean, go and look up the most successful investment bankers. They all use numerology.
Of course,
it's huge, and this isn't a hidden thing. They numerology of when to buy, when to sell, when to do this, when to do that, when to get married, it's all tied into the spiritual, and they know that that's how this place works.
Yeah,
it's all like we've talked about since day one on this channel: the physical and the spiritual coming together to create reality. Right?
Yes.
That's what this place is. No matter what you look at, it's like that. Whether you're talking about the wind, the stars, the elements. Whatever it is, it all has a spiritual entity over it, and spirituality that intertwines with it that makes it function in this place. And the more you look into these societies, the more you see that. Even on the dark side, it's all physical and spiritual. There's nothing that's just in the physical, because that has no power.
Yes, exactly. If you think about a classic war field, and you can do this with a video game, you can do this in a movie, just think about a classic war field. You have on your front lines, you have the powerful things, whether those are tanks, whether it's horses, whether it's armored men. These things are the powerful things in the strong suit. Back behind them, back in the tents with the binoculars or the telescopes, these are your mentally powerful people who are the ones writing up strategies, putting in the blueprints for the battle and for the conquest. And then off to the sides, it's always there, it's never not there, are the diviners. You can see this in Joshua, you can see this in Kings and Chronicles. There's always the diviners on the side who are then fighting the warfare that's in the skies. They're trying to manipulate the weather, they're trying to manipulate the angelic forces. And it's no different, whether it's a battle that's a war or a video game in here, it's a battle for you and my soul, for our salvation. And they're doing the exact same thing. They've got boots on the ground, whether you want to look at that as Hollywood, entertainment, OnlyFans, whatever, that's the boots on the ground. They got the people way back and behind closed curtains trying to figure out the most clever plans to ruin yours and mine's holiness and to spoil our spirits.
Boots on the ground, let's take it a little bit further. You got
Sure.
MS-13, all of the politicians, all of the militaries, all of the judicials, all of the Congresses, all of the dictators.
Yes.
He's the king of this world, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. They're all frontline soldiers. They all are frontline soldiers. They're all folly.
Mm-hmm. And you can't go to sleep without somebody trying to hit you with a frequency bomb or something. It's the exact same formula. You said it so great in threes. You're so right. It's the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. When you said that, it was like boom. Everything was like, yes, very well said. Very, very well said.
That's how it's all broken down. Just like you said, you have the muscle up front, you have the minds behind them, and all side fighting the battle in the heavens. You have the diviners and soothsayers and magi. Yeah, every time. Without fail, throughout history.
Yes.
And it's not the same way today. We did it when we talked about Project Stargate. You still have your soothsayers and people that are in contact with familiar spirits and all that working for these governments all over the world. It hasn't changed. The technology's just gotten better.
Right. Very, very true. Wow, man. That was a fun little rabbit hole. That was really, really fun. And so the reason why we got there is because of what we have here with the black dragons and the green dragons coming through. So we said that the Green Dragon Society was the one who was focused on these esoteric, Agartha, Shambhala type of thing. And the Black Dragon was heavily involved, right here on the page, in spying on the kindred spheres of propaganda of subversion, such as basically function and as an extension to the Imperial Army's special organs. So very, very interesting, man. So that they were connected with Nazi Germany. They're moving in through the Mongols and through Tibet and Siberia to make this connection. And then on the other side, we have Japan, who is really the root source of this society, being connected with Rasputin. This is just insane, man. This is insane. Wow. All right, which direction do you want to go next, my friend? We've got...
Well, we could continue in this one, or let's go back to that last one real quick.
Sure.
And let's just see that bottom part, and let's make sure that we don't miss anything cool.
Yeah, for sure. So coming down, we've got Trevor Ravenscroft and Carl Hochschaffer. Green Dragon is a fundamentally mystical order, most evidently appears in the Trevor Ravenscroft, the Spear of Destiny. It's not insignificant, was a follower of anthroposophy. I said it right. And its founders, Rudolf Steiner, and his book is distinctly anthroposophist. God, that's the tough one. Take on the nefarious... Go ahead.
Real quick, anthropophist. Do you remember the 7 races?
Yeah, uh-huh.
That's okay. Now we're getting into that.
Oh,
same people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
It stems out of theosophy. Yeah, now you're getting... Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
So now you get to where they take anthropology and theosophy and put that together. Okay, now you're starting to see this type of thing is Arianosophy.
Yes,
okay?
exactly what I was thinking.
He grew out of.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, I understand. All right, so and then obviously we're gonna get into the Atlantean stuff from this. So Ravencroft firmly Ravencroft firmly connects the Green Dragon to German geopolitician and mystic Karl Hochschaffer, one of Hitler's presumed spiritual mentors. According to Ravenscroft, Professor Hochschaffer gained extraordinary gifts through membership of the Green Dragon Society of Japan, in which the mastery of the time organism, that's in all caps by the way, time organism, and the control of the life forces in the human body is the central aim of ascending degrees of initiation. Ravenscroft adds that one of the highest tests of this type of initiation in the Green Dragon Society demands the capacity to control and direct the life force in plants. Oh, so this is what we were looking at earlier when they were saying that they were using some type of chi or ki or whatever to actually cause seeds to germinate. That's insane. One of the highest tests of this type of initiation in the Green Dragon Society demands the capacity to control and direct the life force in plants in a somewhat similar manner to the former powers of the Atlantean people. Only 2 other Europeans have been permitted to join this Japanese order, and who one wonders were they? Ravencroft continues, which demands oath of secrecy and obedience of a far more strict and uncompromising nature than similar secret societies. Yeah, that's a solid point too. You know, I've been a student of the Japanese martial arts for a long time, and you learn some things about the way they do things with the samurai order or whatever. I can't imagine how strict secret society would have been in the late 1800s of Japan, bro. That's insane. All right, it says, yeah, dude, are you serious? Yeah.
Well, that's coming right out of the samurai.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. Yeah, you will not fail your mission. You know what I'm saying? Punishment will be, wow. All right, so, sorry, I lost my place. Those authors claim that he said by whom. Yeah, assuming that this allusion to the above GDS were still faced with the lack of any identifiable source for the author's information. The Green Dragon Society set up shop in 1920s Germany and there joined forces with a group of Tibetan monks called the Society of Green Men. The latter were, in fact, the adepts of the Agartha and Shambhala, and their leader was a mysterious man with green gloves. Yeah, it also turns out that the Green Dragons and the Green Men had been astral communication for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years, yes.
Oh, what the heck is going on? Okay, so, all right, hold on. Let's read that one more time. So this is set up 1920s in Germany, and they joined forces with a group of Tibetan monks called the Society of Green Men. All right, they've got a leader. He wears green gloves, and it also turns out that the Green Dragons and the Green Men had been in astral communication for hundreds of years. The United Brethren soon established communication with the rising heir Hitler. Unbelievable. So here we are, man. These guys are having, meet and greets and book clubs in the astral realm. That's unbelievable.
Right. Well, let me tell the story. And this is mentioned in our interview coming up. I don't know if we're going to include it or not, so I'll mention it now.
Sure, go ahead.
There's a story about people that were trying to astral project, obviously not Christians, but they're trying to astral project and go inside of Area 51 in the astral realm to go explore what's in there. And the report is, and I don't know how true it is, but I just want to give this for food for thought, is that this person went to Area 51, and when he got there to a certain part of Area 51, he went inside. There were 2 security guards, and they were both asleep, is what it's like. Then all of a sudden, they weren't asleep. What they were doing, those security guards were in the astral realm. And the person saw the security guards come to them. They basically kicked them and sent them all the way in the flying back through the astral realm into their body from Area 51. So I don't know how true it is, but I just want to point that out to you that don't be surprised if the governments of the world have both security in the physical and in the spiritual over these top sites. So it's crazy to think about the possibilities if that story is true of how far that goes.
Yes. I mean, I can't imagine someone working an 8-hour shift of security in the astral realm. I mean, can you imagine? Whoa, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know what to make of that. I'm such a novice when it comes to that. I mean, we've told enough stories on Ancient Echoes. You guys probably know, whether you're watching this now or if you're checking this out later on, that, it's happened to me before. I've had out-of-body experiences before, but never have I ever ran across anyone in particular. I've never seen anyone that I could describe as human or humanesque or humanoid. But to think what this could entail, people that are so comfortable navigating and moving around in the astral realm, in the spiritual realm. I mean, what else are we going to call it? the spiritual portion of Earth, if you will, being able to be that aware to commit combat, and that's insane, dude. That's just crazy.
Let me interject this as well. Okay, when it talks about in the end times, all the nations of the world coming together,
Yeah.
is this going to be an astral?
Okay. You broke up for a second, but
the world going to be fighting in the spiritual realm against God?
Yeah, dude, that's insane. So
you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by that's why I wanted to tell the story, because when you start chewing on this, it's like, oh my goodness, there's so many bad things that could come from this, man.
Right.
And it could go very, very deep and very far. It's an interesting concept to try and wrap your head around, and I really believe that, you know, especially with all the stuff coming out about Stargate, that this is definitely a possibility that we have security forces in the astral realm.
Yeah, it puts like 1,000-year reign into a whole different type of thought. You know what I mean? It's
Battle of Armageddon is suddenly looking like it might be something different than what we ever thought.
Yeah, right.
It's probably going to be a spiritual and a physical battle, like we talked about.
Yeah,
be in both realms.
More than likely. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if there were soldiers that were going back and forth in between the realms.
We'll probably be able to see it. If the sky by that time is rolled away like a scroll, you'll probably be able to see it, even in the physical. You might not be able to touch it and be a part of it, but you'll probably be able to see it. And that's a very, very fun thought to have. Very interesting thought to have there. Wow. The fact that they were in communication for 100 years is just insane to me. I wonder if they knew. You know what I mean? You have to wonder some of those things. There's so many questions that comes from something like that. It's just insane.
Well, one of the main questions I had is, so where is this place that the Nazis went? I'll tell you what, that last article you were on, let's go back to that real quick, because I think that may have a little bit more backstory. No, the one you were on right before you switched over.
Oh, this one here?
No.
This one here? Yes?
Horror Stop Wiki. So let's see what they have to say about it a little bit.
Sure. So this says the Order of the Green Dragon was formed in Nadong, Tibet, 1285. Originally as
start of the page?
Yes.
Yeah.
Originally as an insurgency against the Mongols who had recently conquered the region, they focused largely on preserving Tibet's traditions against outside influence, and that include mystical and occult arts. They were instrumental in Fagmerdrupa dynasty. Fagmerdrupa dynasty. But that's family's fractious politics lead to the entire order being exiled from the nation in 1434. This is a very long time ago, when they were blamed for a civil war. They wandered for a while across China until they were invited by a powerful noble to come to Japan, which was incidentally in the midst of the Sengoku period. The Green Dragon relocated to Japan, and their mystical traditions helped fuel the stories of strange powers of shinobi, assassins, and mercenaries. Oh snap, this is where we get Naruto. Indeed, the monks and warriors of the Green Dragon were seen to be Tengu, of course they were, shape-shifting mountain demons who were masters of strange magics and swordsmanship. This is actually where we get Naruto from. Since 1498.
Yes. There's nothing new under the sun, man.
Yeah. This is insane. Oh, hey, what's up, DJ Para? I see you over there in Rumble. She says Rasputin.
Oh, DJ Para.
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, it is the Russian guy, man. Apparently, they tried to poison him. He lived. They shot him, and that wasn't enough. He got back up and still kept scrapping, and so they had to shoot him 2 more times. It's very, very interesting episode tonight, but so glad you're here, Kathy. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. I appreciate it. So right now we're talking about where Naruto came from. Just joking. I'm just being silly. But this is the Order of the Green Dragon. So it says the order was based out of Kyoto, using their occult powers and ancient traditions to protect the knowledge of the past and topple regimes that would seek to suppress knowledge of the past. The Green Dragon was one of Japan's most powerful secret societies during the Second World War. It sounds like it. You know, they were linked with Hitler. We've seen that. and worked along groups such as Germany's Thule Society or Thule Society to investigate occult phenomena in the East. The Green Dragon would really rather everyone forget their fascist period, but still carry the stigma from their dark. Of course, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want that? We were shape-shifting demon monsters in the mountains that knew ancient shinobi.
They're concerned about that. I think they're more concerned with being tied to the mustache man.
Probably, yeah. Forget about that part.
They're worried about being tied to demons.
Yeah, they like that. That's good. We like that. Yeah, that's a good rumor to have. Though the Green Dragon's official motto is a quote from butchering this Tao Te Ching: "Those who know speak not; those who speak know not." Ooh, bars. However, they are better known for their unofficial motto: "From chaos comes order." Oh snap! That's a legendary. I wonder where they got that phrase.
Chaos.
Yeah,
Right.
wonder where that phrase came from. Dude, it's very. I wonder if they really did make it to the Shangri-La place and get in contact with, I don't know what else to say, Satan himself.
I have no doubt that they've been in contact with entities. I have no doubt that they have certain gifts that are bestowed upon them by the elementals, the stoichion, if you will. I have no doubts about it.
Sorry.
You aren't held in high regard by all these powerful governments and are tied in with the Third Reich and all this stuff for no reason.
Yeah.
You're not. You're just not some grifter and lying your way to the halls of power all around the world. That's not how this works.
No. And if you think about in the book of Job, when God has Satan come up there and he interviews him, if you will, he's got this conversation going. He says, "What have you been doing? What you been up to?" Satan says, "I've been to and fro in the earth and out the earth, walking to and fro." And we started this episode off talking about these guys being involved with Hitler, and he
what if the stones of fire is Japan?
Very interesting.
All the volcanoes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that ring of fire that's there is a very interesting concept, man. There's something going on here, that's for sure. The fact that they were in contact for 100 years in the astral realm, shape-shifting, shinobi techniques where they're teleporting in the spiritual realm. I mean, it's just this is insane. This is something like a shonen anime. This is insane. Wow. All right, so
This
go
is
ahead.
basically mystical order of like a mystical order of like kung fu wizards or something.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah, it is.
Insane.
It is.
So, all right,
insane.
so hold on one second. Let's
Sorry.
go back real quick.
Yeah.
To the first one you were just at.
Right here.
Yes. Okay. So we were talking about where would the Nazis have gone to meet up with these people? And I think that I've found the location, or at least somewhere that's around here in the Himalaya mountains. So did the Nazis go to Tibet? Yes. So let's come back to this right here after that. I just want to establish that yes, they go to Tibet, even according to Google AI. So let's start looking at this area as to where they went.
Okay.
All right. Right here is Mount Kailash. I am saying that correct?
I hope I'm saying it correct too. I've been saying Kailash. I'm kind of switching it around.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is this it's a mountain in Tibet. It's holy, and they believe in their religion over there that this is where Shiva sits upon the top of this mountain. We've got some very, very interesting facts about
the same
this place.
Shiva that's doing the dance of destruction outside of CERN.
Yes, that same Shiva, the Large Hadron Collider. So we've got NASA with their famous serpent tongue going around the S here, and they are done some interesting investigations on Mount Kailash themselves. And it's so interesting. I'll hold that thought for later, but this is interesting. It's not just an ordinary mountain. It is believed to be the home of Lord Shiva in Hinduism and holds great significance in Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon religion. Mount Kailash remains the only Himalayan peak that no human team has ever reached through climbing because of mysterious forces allegedly guarding it. Unbelievable. NASA, the well-known space agency from the United States, has studied many natural wonders and mysterious places around the world, including Mount Kalish. So, this blog looks at what NASA has discovered about the Mount Kalish. So these little check marks here are just little bullet points, and we're just going to go over some of these bullet points here because they're kind of fun and exciting. All sides of Mount Kalish display symmetrical alignment reaching the 4 cardinal points, which is very reminiscent, if you're familiar with something like the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is very interesting because this isn't a man-made structure. This is a mountain. This is something that's supposed to be made naturally. Yes, allegedly. So it is made up of granite composition in black and white. It differs from other mountain peaks because sedimentary rock layers are missing here, as other mountains are made from sedimentary rock. So if this came from your usual fault lines rising up together, it's a very peculiar area because this mountain peak is not made of sedimentary rock. This region may be geologically young, but Kalish displays an older appearance due to its formation process, which remain uncertain. So that's kind of our geological makeup of this place. But when we come down here, we're going to start seeing almost these weird type of spiritual circumstances, and this is very interesting here.
Right above it says the focus on Tibet is one area of it. Some of their findings. What does that say right before that? Sorry, I know you gotta get.
No, you're cool.
We'll make sure we give the proper lead up into it.
So NASA conducts studies in different regions on Earth through satellite imagery and geological surveys that focus on Tibet as one area of interest. Some of their findings include, so this is coming straight from NASA themselves, what they're saying that they have found. And yeah, no, I'm not the biggest fan of NASA either, but if we're looking for a source that most people deem as credible, here goes one.
Well, who would know what's going on with the cultists more than an organization that was founded by Nazis and occultists?
I'm just saying.
I think NASA would have the inside track on this because these were the Green Dragon Society were involved with Nazi occultists, and hey, guess who started NASA? Nazi occultists.
Go figure. Yep.
Yeah.
So here we go. The unusual energy field. NASA satellite observations discovered Mount Kalish sends out an uncommon electromagnetic energy wave. Experts, whoever they are, disagree about what causes the unusual energy field at the mountain because they can't properly explain the phenomenon, either through mineral composition or hidden energy forces. Time distortion reports. This is insane. Studies of Mount Kalish guests reveal several reports about time functioning differently in the vicinity. Multiple visitors experienced their hair and nails growing at an abnormally rapid pace. Sorry, let me mute these ads real quick.
From project intake to campaign management to strategic planning.
That their hair and their nails were growing at a much faster rate than normal, which is just insane. And it makes you wonder, how much of this is in relation to these electromagnetic force fields? It's insane. So, back to it. So,
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that too. That's kind of Nas-ish, isn't it? It reminds me of Nas.
Yeah, like some throwbacks to some New Jack Swing.
Yeah, I like that. NASA has confirmed the existence of powerful magnetic distortions in this particular region with no evidence to support their impact on biological functions. Undiscovered underground structures. This is insane. Radar mapping indicates that hollow areas together with tunnels could exist between the mountain's surface. According to recent discoveries, I know some theorists say there exists a possibility that Mount Kalish might be hiding an ancient, unknown structure, although there is no official confirmation. Well, it's possible to no official confirmation, but it only speeds up time and only emits a crazy energy force field. There could be something underneath here, but It's insane, bro.
After we get done with this, we do have I guess you call him a guru or whatever. It's the same guy that, democracy is government for the people, by the people, and of the people, but the people are retarded. That one?
Yeah, that guy.
But that's the same guy that's narrating it. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool, and you get the chance to see it. And when you actually see it, it looks very different from every mountain around it. The coloring, the size of it, the formations in front of it. But we're going to get into it.
It's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
So the next thing that NASA discovered about Mount Kalish is that it has an unclimbable peak. Mount Everest and other high peaks are climbable, but Mount Kalish has never been climbed. Even experienced climbers who attempted to ascend the mountain either turned back or disappeared mysteriously. The Chinese government has banned climbing Mount Kalish out of respect for its religious importance, but locals believe it is also protected by supernatural forces. Connection to the pyramids. Researchers affiliate Mount Kalish with the ancient pyramid structure because they believe the mountain exhibits it does. It does exhibit artificial pyramid traits, and we'll take a look at that in a second, but I think they're right. The theory is based on its perfect shape in alignment with the pyramids of Egypt and other ancient structures. However, there is no solid evidence, but whatever. I think that's just a disclaimer. I think there is pretty good evidence for that. The sacred lakes. Now, this is something I've heard about, but I haven't read before, so I'm interested to see what this says. Near Mount Kalish exist two special lakes with different water chemistry. Okay, you have Lake Mansarovar as freshwater and Lake Rashkshatal as saltwater. It is strange that these two lakes, located next to each other, have completely different types of water. Oh, so do they connect, or are they just next to it? And it's a lake. What? Okay, I'll look into that in a minute because that's interesting. I don't even know what to ask about that. All right. Here we go. Numerous spiritual individuals interpret the double lakes near Mount Kalish as a cosmic symbol representing the forces of good and evil, life and death. Okay. All right. All right. The Axis Mundi. Ancient traditions state that Mount Kalish acts as the heavenly mount, which serves as both the spiritual and energetic core of our Earth. Many religious scriptures mention that Kalish is the link between heaven and earth. Kind of like a Herman type of thing. Scientific explanation. I'm sorry?
Mount Muru or Muru.
Yeah. Yeah. Scientific explanations for the mysteries. Although Mount Kalish has many tales, scientists have administered logical explanations for several mysteries surrounding it. The unusual shape is explained that the Mount Kalish displays a pyramid form because of... Come on, bro. Because erosion and geological uplift have acted on it for millions... Erosion and geological uplift have acted on everything for millions of years. When we show...
Let me ask something. How does it make the mountain not have sedimentary rock?
Thank you. Exactly. That makes no sense.
I bet you they don't answer that, because if it was sedimentary rock, they could have an explanation for how it formed. But it already said previously that scientists have yet to find a real explanation for how it was formed, since it doesn't have sedimentary rock.
Right.
So I think that right there is a little bit jumping the gun.
I think so
since
too.
They can't tell how it was formed anyway. So if you can't tell how it was formed naturally, it must be what? Man-made.
Yes.
I don't know that it is man-made, but I'm saying if that's the case and you can't tell how it was formed, but you can tell with everything else, and there's no sedimentary rock, you have to start asking yourself exactly what is this?
Yeah.
Without sedimentary rock, it would have to be something that was man-made, right? Or something that's just an absolute fluke.
Yeah, or maybe man-made with the assistance of some type of spiritual entity. I mean, if it's got similar dimensions to the Pyramid of Giza, we're looking at a fantastic structure here. And the claim for it to be a natural formation is absurd.
But when you look at it, though, if it is something that is man-made, it is so old because the erosion is so drastic on it. You know what it makes me think of when we look at it? The theory that a lot of the landforms in the Grand Canyon were actually ancient temples that have eroded because they're so old. This Mount Kalish has that same look as something that's eroded from something from that time period.
Yeah.
If it is man-made, it could be just a physical structure. it could be just a natural structure that just formed in a way that we can't tell, or something that's very old, or something that it has such hard rock at the top that everything else just eroded down over such a long period of time. I mean, I guess that could be the case. That actually seems a little less plausible than a man-made structure that eroded over time because of that sedimentary rock.
Yeah, you have a solid point there. I mean, so your next thing that they've looked at here and their explanation for these mysteries, the magnetic anomaly. So if you're just now tuning in here, if you're on Rumble or whatever, thank you guys for tuning in. They're saying that the electromagnetic, I guess, what do you even call it, that is expelled from this thing is really, really weird. It's causing time to roll by faster. People are disappearing, makes people sick, whatever. So NASA explains this by saying scientific researchers have identified the unusual magnetic field NASA discovered in rocks by analyzing high quantities of natural minerals like quartz and magnetite found in the rocks. Sure, okay, whatever. You're dealing with granite. Of course there's going to be quartz there. There's going to be quartz. There's quartz everywhere. I've got quartz in my backyard. I don't understand.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, thanks. A lot. Yeah, thank you. And there's high quantities. I don't know. I don't think that's a good enough explanation for me. Although it's one that I can see. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think I deem that. Not that I'm a geologist, but whatever. All right, so the mountain has never been able to be climbed by a single human that we know of. While some believe that spiritual forces protect the mountain, scientists say that the rock quality and unstable weather conditions make climbing extremely dangerous.
Which is true.
Yeah.
The Himalayas are brutal. Yeah.
Right. That's probably...
We talked about this Mount Kalash a little bit. Let's show the temple that's there, and then let's go to that Guru video where it gives that aerial drone footage of the mountain so they can look at it from all sides.
Sure. So here's some of the temple here. Golly, isn't that just amazing? Wow. Come down a little bit. I'm impressed on this picture, guys. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to try it. And 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, good. That could have been way worse. Oh, dude.
Those are elephant?
Yeah, but I just had the silliest joke come to mind. It's appropriate for Rumble. I don't know how YouTube and X are going to feel about it. But I saw all the trunks missing from the elephants, and I was like, oh, we was Kangs. Come back up. You know the nose theory? You know the nose theory?
Yeah.
Sorry. That's just me being silly, guys. That's just a silly thing. All right, the incredible size and beauty of the Kailash Temple. The Kailash Temple is a megalith. It is fashioned from a single piece of stone carved out from the rock cliff face. The temple is said to be the largest monolithic structure made by man in the world. It is claimed as one of the most remarkable cave temples found anywhere in the world on account of its sheer size, complexity, and beauty. I mean, it is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful if you look at it. I mean, my goodness gracious.
Some of those Hindu and Buddhist temples are some of the most beautiful ones in the world, for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, my screen froze up for just a second. I'm just fixing that. There we go. All right, so the Kailash Temple is huge. The top of the superstructure towers some 107 feet over the court below. Which is remarkable is that Kailash Temple is just one, the largest one, of some of 100, oh really, of which 34 are open to the public. I wonder why the other ones are closed. Maybe it's just dangerous. These caves include Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain cave temples and monasteries. Wow. That's fascinating. I would love to just go see them. It's so interesting. I didn't know there was that many there. Kailash is in the 16th cave at Ellora Caves, and around 200,000 tons of rock were removed. Wow. That's insane. Wow. Let's see, length 300 feet, width 175 feet, height over 100 feet. Kathy says, and it was a terrible picture, and he's banned from every platform. It was just a joke. I'm just being silly. I don't even mean it. It's just a silly joke. All right. Wow, check that out. How many tons? 200,000 tons? Yeah, 200,000 tons. You take 200,000 and multiply that by 2,000. That's how many pounds of rock was. That's unbelievable. What a beautiful place, though.
Yeah, I mean, carved all out of the rock like that. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, insane is understatement, man. I mean, wow.
I mean, stuff like that makes Petra look like nothing.
Yeah, you're right. what I'm looking at here, though, can you see? The only thing I see, Austin, is in the top right of this picture. I'm looking for dome and spires. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only, maybe a little bit down
zoom
here.
in there.
I can certainly try. Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll do it this way. Give me 1 second.
And to tell you the truth, man, with these guys being able to access the astral realm the way they are supposedly for at least hundreds of years, I don't think that they need to
Maybe
tap into stuff like that. They have a different kind of energy.
You're right. So I don't know if you can see my cursor on your screen or not, Austin, but here in the top right corner, and then also here in the bottom right corner, over here. And that's about all I can get for anything that's kind of Dome and Spire-esque, but very, very interesting nonetheless, man. I don't know. That's just my own personal thing. I was just curious to take a look at. Okay, so it was built between 756 and 773 AD. The status is the UNESCO World Heritage listed since 1982. Later on, the Muslim Mughal ruler, he tried to vandalize the temple, but was largely unsuccessful, causing only minor damage. The Islamic iconoclasm, iconoclasm of the period was also damaged the other temples at the site. This was perhaps similar to how one Muslim ruler of Egypt tried to dismantle the pyramids. Visitors can still see a large gash in the Pyramid of Menkaure at Giza from the attempt. Wow. So it's very, very, I can't overstate just how beautiful it is. I would love to go see it, and it's just carved into the side of a mountain. It's just gorgeous. Wow, check that out. Admission fee is $6. Oh, dude, we can all go. Kathy, you can come too. We can all go. I'll pay for it. $6. That ain't bad, bro. What the heck? And it's open 12 hours a day, and it's closed on Tuesdays. Wow, check that out. It can be difficult for Western travelers to understand the symbolism. Yeah, it's not my specialty. That's for sure. And the mythology of Hinduism and Buddhism incorporated into the temples. To get the most out of visiting and to understand the history and significance of the temples, consider hiring a local guide. Yeah, no doubt, man. Golly, I would love to do an Ancient Echoes documentary over there. That is just so cool. So cool. Wow. All right, so do you want to move on to our boy and his?
Yeah, let's show a little bit of it, man. They can they have the drone that goes around up top, so you get a good panoramic view. Very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just make sure I've got this volume up here correct, and it may be very loud, guys. I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't blow your eardrums out. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. That's not too bad. That volume's pretty good.
So if you look at this whole setup, the geological setup around it, you see what is called as a conglomerate of mass, which is like concrete.
Right there, check that out. I'm no geologist, but I mean, you can see clear as day just based off the shading here. This almost looks like the Under Armour symbol. Kind of looks like an X. That's just unique, man. Very interesting.
As all pebbles molded into some molten earth.
Wow.
So something happened there, which created temperatures between 800 to 1100 degrees centigrade, which melted the soil, but which did not melt the rocks. If a volcano happens, rocks melt because the temperatures go up to 3000 degrees centigrade. If a meteorite lands, temperatures hit 4000 to 6000 degrees centigrade, so everything melts. These are the two phenomena we know which generally create that kind of temperature. Or if the tectonic plates move, which has definitely happened in the area, if they happen, then also temperatures could raise because of the friction and things could melt. I really don't have…
Yeah, I don't know. I know most people have never been up there, Austin. When you look at this is Google Earth, and how accurate this may be, I don't know. But if it is accurate, I mean, I it just looks so unusually swirly, like I've mixed up vanilla and chocolate ice cream, but I haven't mixed them up all the way. It just looks so swirly. It's just, I don't know.
Right. Well, wait till they do that panoramic view. And
Sure.
There's two legs coming out that they mentioned in that article, and he gives the Hindu interpretation for.
Yeah. All right. Let's check that out.
You see it. It almost looks like you're looking. I don't mean to be crude, but on the other side, like Alice and the two legs.
The two legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have enough scientific information as to what is the kind of temperatures that happen. Some Russian scientist says that this kind of tectonic clash could create that kind of 800 to 1000 degrees centigrade, and soil could melt and all this stuff. It's possible. That looks like the most sensible scientific explanation that one can give. So soil melted and the rock did not melt. That's why you see all those mountains like concrete standing up with all pebbles sticking all over the place. All the mountains around when you are walking are like concrete mountains. You can see pebbles and molten soil. But Kailash alone is standing like a steel, like black steel, it's standing there. And last time we sent people right up to the core to get some rocks from the mountain itself. And we have them with us. We see that it's energy-wise, it's reverberating in a big way, but we do not know the geological composition of this. Is it a meteorite or is it a certain rising that happened from the earth itself? We do not know that exactly. Geologically, they say it's a certain rising. Why this rising happened, all this, I have not found any logical explanations to this. Why a peak would rise like that, I really do not know. If it's because of tectonic movement, it should have been of one kind, like you find the Indian Himalayas.
Yeah.
It's of one kind, it has peaks, but it's of one kind. Here it seems to be different. There may be a geological explanation, I do not know. But you can see geologically it's of a different structure altogether.
Yeah.
Either you can try to read miraculous happenings into this, or if there isn't anything like that, it's just a natural earth formation.
Right there on
happening
that
that's
side is
happened.
where it looks the most like a pyramid.
Yeah, no, it for sure does too. I don't know, man. It's you can speculate so much about this stuff, and mountains are definitely important in a biblical retrospect. There's if you go through, I don't know, Joshua or Judges, Chronicles, Kings, whatever, mountains are a big deal.
Each one of those mountains had a god that was over each.
Yeah, right, and they used them. Sorry, I didn't know you were still talking. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. You had Bel that was on Mount Zaphon, and then you had the god of Canaanites, El, 70 sons of supposedly.
Right.
As each deity has. That's pretty consistent. Yeah, Mount Olympus. You know what I mean? It's consistent throughout all religions. Mount Meriah.
Yes.
It is very, very important. The spiritual significance of mountains.
Yeah, it's undeniable.
Once again, spiritual wickedness in high places.
Yes, exactly.
Thing like that. It's just a natural earth formation happening that's happened, and somehow this peak had more integrity. Obviously it has, because of the kind of rock that it is. So Shiva and other yogis chose this place because this was a good place. That could be the most sensible explanation. Or there could be some other crazy happening.
Oh, hold on one second.
There's a crazy lake.
This guy just said that. Hold on. Did this guy say Shiva and the deities chose this place because it was?
Yeah, because it's good.
And this is the most sensible explanation. Sorry. You're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do better than that, Mr. Guru.
Yeah. I'm gonna need better than it's just good real estate.
He chose this because it's a good place, and that's the best explanation. Like, okay, Indian Dr. Seuss, thank you so much.
The mountain is good. It is very good. Should I live here?
Don't
Yes, I
believe it
should.
because the people are retarded.
Yeah.
Lake next door. So there could be some possible craziness out there in its making, or it could be just a natural geological happening. Both are possible. We need a scientific assessment of this, which we haven't found yet. Story-wise, Shiva is always sitting at the peak of Kailash with Parvati sitting on his lap, on his left lap. This is all
right,
we
pause
need
there,
to
Brock.
understand.
Sure.
This is
Do you see what I mean by the phallic symbol and the legs coming out?
Yeah, no doubt.
I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't some kind of a phallic. Within Hinduism and Buddhism, it goes back to a lot of phallic work and internal orgasm and trans. Not just. That's a huge foundation of their religion.
Yes, yeah, it is too. And I mean, we didn't get into that section of the Robert Sefer video, but it is a humongous. Whether you're talking about the Karma Sutra or whatever, you know what I'm saying. That is a part of what they do over there, and really most religions, and even in Christianity, we don't really talk about it like that, but the act between a mommy daddy that love each other very much is something that is sacred. You know what I'm saying? It does something amazing. And in some of these religions that are not quite as, for lack of a better term, clean as Christianity, these sexual rituals are, very important to them. It's, we did that video on the Society of Sorceries, and we go into that in depth and just how dark and twisted that stuff can be.
I honestly, if you guys go and watch that Robert Sefer video on the Green Dragon, that second half that we didn't play is all about the sex stuff within that and tantric practices and all that type of stuff. So I'm not pulling it out of. I just didn't muddy up. We were talking about too much about it, but that looks like it's so similar to that.
Yeah.
When you look at it, and they even call them. Then you factor in all the, let's just call it. I consider it phallic worship within Hinduism. Even their temples, the spheres are even made to look phallus. So that's why I pulled that from that. But yeah, man, this is the area where the Nazis. This is wild.
It is very, very wild, to say the least. Yeah, very interesting. And from what I understand too, is that what he was saying there is that the mountain itself for Kailash. Let me see if I can find a good picture here. It's supposed to look like as if Shiva is sitting on the lap of another entity, and so you kind of can see
he's sitting on Shiva's lap.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's obviously something in there. They picked it because it's a good spot. It's good real estate. So, wow, very, very interesting to think that you have this spiritually charged area. They have no human has ever been able to climb upon it ever. Turn this music back on here, guys. And on top of that, time is moving faster there. People saying that their hair and that their nails are growing at rapid paces when they're over there camping or climbing. People are going missing, they disappear, etc., etc. And then you have the connection between them and the Nazis, who would be known as the Green Men. So you have the Green Dragon down there, the Green Men are up north, and they're in connection and contact with each other for 100 years through the astro-spiritual realm.
Well, and let's do this too. Let's next week for our live stream, just so we keep this going. Let's just do the Thule Society.
Sure, why not, man? That'll be fun.
We didn't cover that tonight, and that'll be like the German, the Green Men Society, kind of. So, same type of thing, astral projection, communicating with ancient civilizations, supposedly. So let's do one on the Thule Society. That'd be interesting because we kind of covered it from the eastern side tonight. Let's cover it a little more from the western side and get into the Thule Society, the Black Sun, the calf over there, basically Himmler was and the Thule Society were having rituals and trying to communicate with these entities.
Yeah. Hey, 1 second, Austin. We have one of our friends over here from Rumble is saying something. I'm sorry if I missed your chat earlier, my friend. I hope you're still here. I missed you. I'm sorry. But Ryla Beth, so glad you're able to join in, says Israel has occupied Mount Hermon where the fallen angels landed. That is why they occupied Syria, is for that mountain. And Austin, I'll let you respond.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Me and Bunsen actually talked about that on the channel when that was going on in this overthrow in Syria and this culling of the Christians in the area and what's going on with Mount Hermon. And we saw it had that. And when you look into Mount Hermon, the UN's had that for a time.
Yeah.
They have a what is it? What do they call it? Like a weather center up there or something like that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The pillar that's written in Greek that talks about certain kind of like Genesis 6 type of things on that pillar. There's lots of stuff with Mount Hermon. Then you have the ancient about about El and the 70 sons of El. It's a lot of bad stuff there. 200 watchers, descending there. That's basically the birthplace of evil. Is right there coming down from that mountain. And when Jesus said, that this is my rock, the gates of hell will not prevail against my church. He was literally standing at the base of Mount Hermon at what they called the Grotto of Pan, which was considered to be the where they would have human sacrifice. Hell. So Jesus is standing there and he's preaching, and he says, the gates of hell will not prevail. And, he's basically standing outside preaching at the gates of hell at the base of Mount Hermon, where that's going on. So when you understand like the significance of what Jesus was doing and saying in context with all this in the ancient world and in the spiritual battle that's going on, you start to really realize Jesus was the man.
Oh,
he's
dude.
God, but he was awesome. He's sitting there preaching right there at the Grotto of Pan. So, just really, really significant when you get the grasp of how important the spiritual battle is and this Mount Hermon region going on with these mountains and these entities. It's a massive, massive spiritual warfare going on throughout the ages, and these different entities are all involved in different confederations with each other, and we kind of saw two sides of the coin tonight with the Bolsheviks, and it's almost I almost feel like it's some kind of 5-pointed star versus 6-pointed star type of ordeal going on here. I won't get it too far into it, man, but we do have a theory going back that at least I do, that a lot of the things that we see go back to those three sons that stepped off the boat. We got Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and I haven't been able to put all the pieces together. I'm working on some stuff in the background to try and put the symbolism together to tie these three houses together. And I think a lot of what we see in the world is the elites between these three houses really battling it out. And I'll leave it there. But maybe that'll spark something in somebody else's mind that we can pull some research out. So,
no doubt. Thanks for saying that, man.
Point that out to you to maybe look at something through a different perspective. That there's things going on in the background that we don't understand, and that we haven't been told, and we've been purposely misled and told things about history, so we don't have the tools to unravel a lot of the truth. I think. It's an uphill battle, but the fight for truth is slowly being won by the righteous, day by day. So just keep on digging, guys. Stay in the Word. Talk to the Holy Spirit to reveal things to you that the Most High wants you to know. And we're going to win this thing in the end, guys. We're going to win it in the end. I know these people are powerful and they've got soldiers in the astral realm and all kinds of scary stuff we talked about. We're going to win this in the end, no matter how powerful.
Yeah, very true. Thank you, man. Ryla Beth says Kabbalism is the key to it all. He also says, maybe she, I'm not too sure. He says, I didn't know that. It makes so much sense. Yeah, most certainly. Kabbalah is... Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. And like I said, I'm trying not to plug it so much, but when we're talking about mystical things like that society and sorcery, we've repeated it out how many times, especially that first episode. It all goes back to Kabbalah, and we take you through all these magicians and dark wizards and stuff throughout history, from John Dee and all these
Yep.
other people throughout. And there's one singular thing. You're absolutely correct. It all ties back to Kabbalah. That's the base, that Babylonian mysticism. So yeah, right on line with exactly what we're talking about. If you want more on that and just more examples, you can go through that First Society of Sorcery video, and without fail, Bronson, every single one of them, every single one of their magical systems were based in the Kabbalah. So,
Every time.
Absolutely right.
Every time. Every very time.
Every single one of them. And it was without fail. There wasn't one that had a different basis.
Mhm.
That's it. That's the Babylonian mysticism.
Yeah.
The mystery school that's lasted.
Well, it makes sense. So let me silence this ad for us real quick, other guys. It makes sense. I mean, because if you think about it, you've got at the Tower of Babel. This is where the whole world came together under King Nimrod. This is why wouldn't all of the ancient religions that we see go back to the place where the entirety of society came together between Shem, Ham, and Japheth? They're all there, until they ended up having the issues with the languages and the tongues. So Radlebeth says, 2nd Esdras, chapter 12, 31 through 35, is about Trump. And I am unfamiliar with the chapter and verse, although I am very, very familiar with 2nd Esdras.
Let's pull it up, bro. Let's check it out.
Let me, whoops,
We
sorry.
like 2nd Esdras. We will probably be doing something about the prophecy of the three-headed eagle.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not sure if that's what you're referencing here, but that's something we've been
Let me check it
looking
real
into.
quick. 2nd Esdras. I know it's not on screen yet, so give me 1 second. 12. You said 31 through 35, yeah? Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay. Let me zoom this in and I'll put this on screen. I know it's looking funny right now, but I wanted to make sure I had it up before I put it on screen, just in case it said something kind of weird or whatever. So, all right, so here we go. Whoops. Oh, no way, did I just lose it? I did. I just lost it. That's insane. Here.
Wow, how did that happen? There it is.
I lost every single tab we had. That's crazy. I don't know what happened with that.
Good thing it's at the end.
Yeah, I'm glad it's done. Let me take this here. My apologies, friends. All right, here we are. So 2nd Esdras, chapter 12, 31 to 35. And the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood and roaring, and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her unrighteousness and all her words which thou hast heard, this is the anointed, which the highest hath kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them and shall upbraid them with their cruelty, for he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy those that have been pressed upon my borders, and he shall make them joyful until the coming of the day of judgment. Wherefore I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. This is the dream and the interpretations thereof. I don't know if I would call this Donald Trump or not. When you say this is the anointed, which the highest hath kept for them and for the wickedness unto the end, he shall reprove them and shall upbraid them for their cruelty. He shall set them before him alive in judgment and shall rebuke them and correct them. There's only one person who I would consider to be the judge, that I would consider to be the anointed, which I would consider to be the highest with a capital H, and that is most certainly not the Dawnster. What do you think, Austin? What's your idea on that?
I agree with you on that, but I see what they're saying.
I do too.
Will align quite a bit, and a lot of what Trump does, I've but I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of things troubling me. The whole king of the world thing that Saudis were voiced. It's not feeling very doesn't feel like it has the hand of God on it. You know what I mean? If you go back and look at how he was physical.
Hey, you're breaking up pretty bad, man. I'm losing you. Try it again.
Sorry, brother. Sorry. Listen, I'm American. I grew up very conservative, voting wise and all, pro-military, all that kind of stuff. I mean, so I'm voted for. I like Trump. I think president. That said, there is some dark stuff around.
Yeah, most certainly
There's some dark. I mean, you look at Kushner. I mean, you talk about Kabbalah. Yeah, Kushner. Yeah, Kabbalist. Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Super close to Trump, married to his daughter. His daughter is now a member of a certain faith that only exists to deny the deity of Christ.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff around Trump I don't like. In the physical, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Physically. I'll tell you what, in his first term, go back and look when glowing orb. Tell me if you
break it up real bad, man. I'm not sure if your mic is unplugged or plugged.
No, I'm not sure what's going on, man. I got a bunch of people walking around here. It's kind of breaking up with that also. So
gotcha.
The internet reception isn't great. But what I was saying is, in his first term, if you go back and look and they were standing around go back and look at that and I got a really creeped out feeling. So Trump in the physical, all for what he does for the most part. But as far as like spiritual and what surrounds spiritual feelings I get, it's not good, man. So is he the best president of my lifetime? Do I like him politically? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything about my flesh loves Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But if I really inspect the spirit, look at what he's surrounded with, and spiritual advisors, Paula White. Seeing the spiritual fruit is rotten.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got. I'm just being honest, and I hate to say everything he does. I think he's the way he carries himself, the way he's strong and holds up. Doesn't let anybody punk out America.
Yeah, I like it.
My flesh loves it, but if I'm really honest and I look at this, I'm not trying to second Esdras thing. I can see it.
I see it too. I see it too in second Esdras. I see what you're saying.
So it's not like I'm trying to come down, but just test the spirits, man, because I don't feel stuff going times. But as far as like anything spiritual, yeah, man, I can't get with anything like that around Trump because there's too much bad stuff.
Yeah, and God uses kings in all sorts of ways. He uses Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
A chapter in Daniel.
Yeah,
Nebuchadnezzar wrote in the Bible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, drawings were contained within the Bible. So so there is that, but I would say be very, very cautious if you pray for him. Absolutely. Pray for his protection, pray for the Holy Spirit to touch him and to keep evil away from him and all that type of stuff. I absolutely
No doubt.
for him again because I think they're all spiritually wicked. But Trump has some real they call it dragon energy, right? Let's say he has that dragon energy.
Yeah. A couple more chats coming in. Riley Beth says, God has me on this journey. I think Moses may have fallen prey to Kabbalism in the waters of Meribah. Nimrod is the Antichrist. Yeah, I think Nimrod is certainly some type of Antichrist figure. David is related to King David. Trump is related to King David. I see what you're saying. I totally appreciate your perspective. Honest discourse is how we grow. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I haven't read, Second Esdras, I've read it 2019 was the last time I read Second Esdras. So it's been a long time, actually. I probably need to go back through it. So I'm literally looking at 4 verses here. And so what do I know? I'm just, giving you my raw reaction off of 4 basic verses here. But honest discourse is exactly how we go. Iron sharpens iron. And it is always such a pleasure and a great honor. Austin and I just take great joy in being able to have those type of discussions with people, especially on Rumble, because it's a very special platform where like-minded people come together. It's not everywhere that you can go and speak about Kabbalah and Mount Hermon and Watchers Descending and have these type of conversations without having to stop every 15 seconds and re-explain yourself and go into more detail for those that just may not be as understanding or knowledgeable.
Talking about Rumble, though, we're fully confident. We love Rumble.
Yeah.
I honestly wish we had a big enough audience to do.
Oh,
do some-
dude.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But gotta be where the people are, and we're trying to reach as many people we can with.
Yeah.
To look at some of these cool conspiracy things through a biblical lens, like when we pulled up, you're not going to get that in a whole lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to get that here on Ancient Echoes. You're going to they can make these connections between.
Yeah.
God doesn't leave us without to
Here.
fight these things that are in the spiritual realm. So if you're
The microphone's cutting out real bad, man. I'm catching about maybe like 5 or 6 words, and I lose you for about 7 or 8
I'll
words.
tell you what, man, it must be my reception. Let's go ahead and close it out for the night,
Sure.
and then we'll next week with the Tule Society.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, hey, that was so much fun. So much fun. Rybeth says there are not enough intelligent Christian conversations. I'd like to see that change. Us too, man. We certainly would.
Yeah.
And it just takes conversation. It just has fun. I really think it takes fun. I think that's where a lot of people miss out on this type of stuff. It gets too, thumbtacks on the wall with string and everything. But just with love and joy and grace and just the fun of learning things, and also just having patience with people that just might not be where we are. There are still people out there, man, that you can't even convince them that there's a secret society at all. You know what I mean? Let alone a Kabbalistic one that runs the whole world.
You remember we were filming in the mountains, and this guy was like, "Oh, giants."
Yeah, there's no giants. There's no Rephaim. Yeah.
We told him, I was like, "Well, I'll tell you what, man. Go look at Abraham's writings on Niagara Falls and tell me what." He said, "Oh." I said, yeah, could do that.
Yeah, that's what you're dealing with. But the more we just talk about it and just, be cool about it and have fun and everything, it happens. And so I got to tell you, man, I'm really I'm glad that you came by over here. I hope to see you again on another broadcast. Austin and I are live on Rumble, X, and YouTube every single Sunday from 8 p.m. until we decide to hop off or until technology or internet says it for us. So we'll be back on here next week at 8 o'clock. And I hope to see you here, man. If you ever have anything you want to talk about, that's what we do. We like to talk and yap about the Bible.
And for you or anybody else, we're on X. So if you want to, talk to us or have suggestions, or you see a video to where we're not teachers, we're not preachers.
Mm-mm.
Love history and love looking into it.
Yep.
So please reach out to us if you have any, input you want to have. We
Absolutely.
X or post it on our page or whatever, guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, we do appreciate every one of you. Hope you have a great rest of your night and a good rest of your weekend. Be safe out there. And all right, we'll see you next time. See you later, guys.
See you guys. God bless.